Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama
Hare Krishna to all the devotees, Dandavat pranams. Hare Krishna to His Grace Vanamali Prabhu also. So today we have Prabhu who's giving his association with us. So thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for this. So we will, Prabhu, over to you. So we'd love to hear the nectar from you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prasanna Prabhu. My humble obeisances to all the assembled devotees. I think last month I could not take all of your association and could not come. And today we thought I was in Suratkal, but I was also eager that I am not able to come to ICC for a very long time. At least I will try to show myself on this platform so that all of you can see that I am not going here and there, and I am in proper consciousness. So thank you for giving this service, Sankarshan Priya Prabhu, and I'll try to share something, whatever I've heard. So we'll start with prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatiruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So the verse 5.5th canto we are reading, 14th chapter, the forest of material enjoyment, text 16. Kvachit kala vishamita rajakula rakshasa parhata priyatama dhanusha pramrittaka iva vigata jiva lakshana aste. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Arvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Okay. please let me know if my voice is clear enough, or if there is any disturbance, I can do the needful. I'm hoping it is audio and video are clear. So
No, we
translation,
can.
government.
Sorry,
Okay.
go ahead.
Is there any background sound coming? Because parallelly some arti is going on.
Yeah, we can hear the shank also, all auspiciousness. So go ahead, Prabhu. It's
Oh,
not
okay.
disturbing.
Thank you. Government men are always like carnivorous demons called Rakshasas, man-eaters. Sometimes these government men turn against the conditioned soul and take away all his accumulated wealth. Being bereft of his life's reserved wealth, the conditioned soul loses all enthusiasm. Indeed, it is as though he loses his life. The word Rajakula, Rakshasa, is very significant. Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled about 5000 years ago, yet government men are referred to as Rakshasas or carnivorous demons. If government men are opposed to a person, that person will be bereft of all his riches, which he has accumulated with great care over a long period of time. Actually, no one wants to pay income taxes. Even government men themselves try to avoid these taxes, but at unfavorable times, income taxes are exacted forcibly and the taxpayers become very morose. शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमा ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So once again we welcome all the devotees for the morning Srimad Bhagavatam Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. So today I was thinking the government position is what Prabhupada is mentioning over here, that nobody likes to pay the taxes and they levy the taxes at an inappropriate time. They themselves don't want to pay the taxes. So I was just thinking how to correlate it to our practical day life as a sadhaka, and thought of comparing it to a manager. Government is a management thing. So even in our devotional life there is some or the other kind of management role which one has to perform, and how there is a plus and the minus sides of it. So I was just thinking I had heard from one of the senior devotees about a topic on manager's service is like a poison water, and how one should not be entangled in that. It's like it's a necessary evil, because the managers tend to control people under them for the good. Intentions may be good, but sometimes it is not perceived good, and that is why the problems can spring on. Needless to say here that the governments are compared to demons 5000 years back in Srimad Bhagavatam, that is the because of the lack of training. And actually a manager can become a demon like character in case he is not trained, like how Vena was. He was absolutely a demoniac personality sitting as a king. So unless there is good amount of training, it is very difficult for a manager to do the job nicely. Not only good training also, but along with coupled with sense control. That's what the training is. The Vedic civilization, the Vedic teachings are primarily focused on the sense control. And that is why I like this DOS formula, which Srila Prabhupada mentions in the first canto, 5th chapter, Narad Muni's conversation with Vyasadeva, where he tells, unless Prabhupada writes in the purport, I think 1.5.5 or nearby to that, that unless one is disciplined, obedient and sense controlled or self controlled, he cannot follow the instructions of the spiritual master. And unless one does not follow the instructions of spiritual master, there is no hope he can go back home, back to Godhead. So much relevant. We want to follow instructions of our spiritual masters, our Shiksha Gurus. There is no doubt about it. As a sincere practitioner in Krishna consciousness movement. So almost the scope of today's discussion will be limited to a devotee and practicing devotee, and that's what I thought I will try to keep the scope of discussion limited to. So if he doesn't follow the instructions of spiritual master, surely there is no scope. But how to follow? We want to follow, the intentions are good, but we are not able to follow, and that is because DOS, the discipline, the obedience and sense control is lacking. And Narada boy was very disciplined. He was not sportive, he tells. He was not like other children who are flickering in nature or not attending, but he was very obedient and listening, and then with their permission he took the remnants and he advanced in his spiritual life. On inquiry to Vyasadeva, he tells about his past life. So these are the essential qualities, and this is what the Vedic teachings are. So unless one is not trained to be a good leader, manager, it is very difficult, and there will be a good chance of chaos and unhappiness in the citizens or the subordinates whom he is managing, whom he is leading. And we see in Priyavrat Maharaj section that how he was inspired by Narad Muni to be a lifelong celibate and not get into the managerial affairs. But then when there was a need, Swayambhuva Manu saw that the other brother was not able to populate the progeny and fill the universe. So the time came that Priyavrata Maharaj had to take that responsibility, and the order of Swayambhuva Manu and request of Swayambhuva Manu and then even Lord Brahma, he had to agree, and he did that. And even Narad Muni was happy with the decision he took, because it was pleasing to the superiors and authority. So the mood was correct and the training was correct. So although Priyavrat Maharaj got distracted during his managerial affairs, but soon he was not lost and he came back. So this is again required. There are managerial affairs are distracting, disturbing, can go haywire, but if the preparation and if the things are good at the background, the training has been good, one can be saved. Otherwise, Srila Prabhupada writes in one of the purport, I am not able to get the reference, but he says, it's in the translation also of Bhagavatam only and in the purport, that unless one is not sufficiently good in his sadhana, it is risky for him to take a lot of managerial responsibilities. So that is why one of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada used to say, in my early days I was always scared to take managerial responsibilities. I was always running away. But on the other hand, it is also a need, unless one doesn't take such a responsibility, like how Priyavrata Maharaj was helplessly wanted to be needed in the managerial affairs of the universe. So otherwise, how the ISKCON organization will run? So that is also important. So one has to be backed up and he has to prepare. So in this regard, Bhagavad Gita, second chapter from shloka number 56 to 72 says, Sita pragyascha ka bhasha. What is the behavior and lookabouts of a Sthita pragya, one who is self-aware, one who can manage himself nicely? What are the behavior? Arjuna is asking Krishna and he elaborates from 2.56 to 2.72. So managers should be sense controlled, and then the mind will automatically get in control. So before controlling the world around us, we have to control our own self. If there is chaos going on in our organization, in our area of management, then the first and foremost is to first control our own senses and mind. Yes, it appears to be very magical, but the moment we control our own self, then the situation below us will naturally come into control. So don't try to cut it is said that we don't have to cut the world in our size, but we have to adapt ourselves to what the world is. We want to see a change in the world, but we don't have to immediately start with that. First we adapt according to what the world can appreciate, the people can appreciate under us, and then we can actually inspire. First dress and then address. So self management is the starting point. And just one second, I'm in class, I'm busy, I'll call you later. Krishna does not tell to stop working or only engage to Arjuna. He tells to spiritualize his activities. So surely we don't have to just become aloof from the managerial affairs and just take off. We have to be in the field and we have to make it Krishna conscious. One point which comes is in the jurisdiction of our self management is that we should not consider ourselves very very great. And the senior devotee whom I was hearing, he was telling sometimes the small children, they are very proudly wanting to tell, I am 11 now. So nobody likes to be considered to be insignificant, very so they also tell that now I'm already 11, I'm quite mature. Whereas the elderly people, when he is 35 or 40, he tells, so I'm still young, I'm 30 or 32, I look like 32. So nobody wants to become look insignificant. Those who are elderly, they want to look young. Those who are young, they want to be looking elderly. So the point is, everybody wants some emphasis and some presence, importance. But Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, the size of the soul is 1 by 10,000 part of the tip of the hair. So actually we are insignificant. If we just know this, that we are insignificant, we will not be feeling bad if we are in case not treated so well, because actually our position is that we are just the resident of this body, and there is another president, that is the Paramatma. So he is the controller and not we. So when this consciousness is very deeply rooted in the managers, that I am a servant, he is my master, the Lord is my master, and my goal is to just love and serve. So if this lording over nature, the government, the managers, they fail when the inherent nature is lording over and controlling mentality. Yeah, to an extent we may use it in the service. We have some tendencies, Kshatriya tendencies, which we may be using, but it can be misused if we are not trained nicely. So it's very very important to have this consciousness of the servant very much embedded by the proper training. And the goal is to love and serve everybody. So then our managers, because if you want to know a person, give him money or position, you will know what his character is. So with money and with position, the lower nature can come out. So before that, the proper training has to happen so that misuse will not happen. and we should be very much aware of what is temporary, what is eternal, and discriminate. So this all will happen in the training. Then the manager or the government will not get attached to post and position. Otherwise, in the government nowadays, people don't want to leave their post positions unless they are removed sometimes. So Prabhupada tells often that the post and positions in the government are so much lucrative, or sometimes very much bonding for the people who are owning it, that they don't want to leave them at any cost. So yes, in our youth centers also, in our voice and bases where we are, sometimes a brahmachari, if we see the activities of brahmachari, like once our Guru Maharaj was being invited in one of the youth centers, and he was just trying to see what the youth centers looks like and runs like. So the senior devotee was explaining that here the brahmachari comes. He was asking basically what are the roles of brahmachari. So he takes care of the daily managerial affairs, setting the schedule, taking care of the boys and helping them in studies, and how to grow their spiritual life, balance between the two. They will have to arrange a cylinder and kitchen items, do purchasing, everything they will be involved. So he told, oh, this is a pakka grahastha life itself, without sex life, for a brahmachari, because he has to deal with everything practically. So in this, if the brahmachari doesn't maintain, he may have good intentions, but as a manager, as a leader, good intentions are not good enough. There is a good chance of being misunderstood, because on one side you are trying to do good for them by instituting policies, but on the other side they backfire when they are not properly trained or they are not oriented to it. So it's a very tricky task to institute policies unless the relationship is not very good. So he has to do on both the fronts. His intention should be good and the delivery also should be good. Both should be good enough for a manager to do his job nicely, not only good intentions. We may institute a good policy, but the other person should take that good policy in a good spirit. If that is not done, then our good intentions are not good enough. So another thing a manager should take care, a government should follow the brahmanas. They are on the kshatriya platform. Similarly, our devotees who are in managerial roles, they should know that this is a necessary evil, and it's a thankless task, but at least one thing we can make sure, that we are aligning with our superiors. That's what Priyavrata Maharaj was doing. He knew that his superiors want it, and Narad Muni was also happy at the end, although he had inspired him to not engage in that and be lifelong celibate. So at least if that is done, that we have aligned with our superiors, then that can be a saving grace for a manager, in spite of subordinates going hither and thither, or things not so much going nicely. Like one should have a very compassionate nature, loving nature, which should be inbuilt, because things will not go nicely. Like one pediatrician doctor was telling to the parent of the child who slapped the doctor while giving injection. So the mother told, oh sorry doctor, my child slapped you. Oh, don't worry, why are you bothering that? I almost regularly get slaps like this from the child. So he had developed that tolerant attitude because he knew his job is to deal with such things. So one has to know that things will be not so favorable, and he will have to take sometimes tough decisions. He will be blamed, but he should go on. But one very good thing I liked was, which I want to share with all of you, is the great success of a manager. How can we understand that he has been really successful? Is when he is dealing with his subordinates, or even sometimes those who are leader kind of people, but under him. As we grow in Krishna consciousness also, and we take up leadership positions, responsibilities, departments, our lower nature will also grow sometimes, and because we get facilities, we get decision powers, and which is dormant till now can grow unless we have not really observed it. Sometimes we cannot observe it, somebody else can observe it, but a real leader can observe this, understand it, and really dovetail it in the and successfully keeps it in harmony. So just to give an example, that let's say we have a subordinate under us who is not so much aligned to us, and somehow he has a bad chemistry match. So now we may being in a superior position have a grudge that, oh, he's supposed to follow me and he's not doing that, and we understand that is his lower nature, he is not able to come out of it although he has good skills. So this fellow subordinate has good skills, but he is not able to align with the superior, and the superior who has been given the position and power, but he is not able to align and happy with the subordinate. So but he may not have necessary skills for a particular project which the subordinate has. So then finally what can happen is, bad ways that subordinate will directly go for a different project, and the manager, the superior, will also tell, yeah, you go, no problem, I will run without you, and at the end both the projects will not grow. But a good superior, a good manager, he will be one who can accommodate. Okay, my voice is low, I will try to be a little louder and be nearer. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Or I can change the network also in case it is. Okay, I have changed my network, and I have been speaking a little closer. Hope it is little better now, Mataji.
Yeah, now it is better, Prabhu, for me at least.
Okay, I'll just speak a little louder. So I was just telling about this example of two managers. I mean, two people. One is the superior, senior person, and the one is junior person. So the senior person is not able to accommodate the junior because of his unsubmissive nature. Um, and he has a skill set, but he's not submissive, and finally both of them, and the subordinate is not happy with the senior and the skill set which he has, and finally if they both separate in different projects, the end result may be that both the projects may not flourish. So in this regard, what can be done as a successful manager? He should have one good quality. It is to accommodate the lower natures somehow in such a way that the juniors remain together, or the people remain together, even he himself. And how he can do that? He should install a consciousness that even though the person has a lower nature of not able to follow the immediate superior, but he should have such a spiritual training or inspiration around atmosphere that the junior will tell, yes Prabhu, I don't appreciate your skill sets, I may not be able to be very much aligned with you, but I will still do that because I love my superiors who are more superior than you also. Because he is his immediate superior, but there are superiors above him also. So for their pleasure, I will try to align with you. That kind of mood can be installed. Then these are the real successful managers. Because one hand, they know that everybody cannot have all the skill sets. But this one common thing, if they can install in almost everybody, that let us align for that one cause. It can be aligning Srila Prabhupada or one's spiritual master, and somebody whom everybody awe and reverence is there for, so that the project remains together, and both these people, one has skill set and one is in a more spiritual mature position, and both can go well together. So I hope this point gets conveyed clearly. We'll take some discussions at the end also in case. And the example of this is Samudra Manthan Leela. Can you imagine Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, taking this project of making demons and demigods come together, and what comes out is Amruta. What an amazing project. How to keep the demons and demigods together. One may think, oh, this project, this fellow is having this good qualities, but he has this bad quality. Or this fellow is like this, he may have skills, but he has a wrong attitude, etc. But to keep them together and run the project far, that is very. And we have such a nice example in front of us, His Grace Narhari Chaitanya Prabhu, who is known for keeping devotees together and run the project. So such a nice example for us to learn from. So this one example of Lord Vishnu was discussed, and I thought I'll put. And another lastly also about Bharat Maharaj, that Bharat Maharaj was very connected to his superior Lord Ram. Although Lord Ram was in the forest, but he had the consciousness that I am just a assistant, I am just a representative of my Lord, and I am not the actual king. And he keeps the Paduka also on the throne. So this kind of attitude, if the managers are carrying, then I think what I understand, I'm also struggling in one sense, but yeah, trying to learn from the mistakes, that if this consciousness is kept, that our connection with our superiors is very strong, and we are doing it for his pleasure, then things will be very nice. So just trying to also one small note on authority subordinate relationship, and maybe 10-15 minutes we'll try to discuss on that, which may be helpful, and then we'll open for discussion. We have time till 8:15, no Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Yeah, so here this is a art of following the authority and art of dealing with the subordinates. So it's both for managers also and the subordinates also. So in the types of parenting, I'm sure many of you might have been heard these terms of neglectful parents and permissive parents and authoritarian parents and authoritative parents. So authoritative parents is which comes in our today's discussion, that the government is just levying the taxes. The manager is just trying to use his position and post and facilities which he has, and tries to exploit the subordinates, both almost authoritarian or authoritative. But permissive is they are loose managers. They are just allowing the subordinates to drift away in the name of compassion, whatever. And neglectful is to be least considered. So one should never be neglectful. See, here the mother is least bothered whether the child is happy or eating nicely or not. She's busy with something else in the laptop. So trying to flee from the responsibilities. This may develop children with very low self-esteem, and they will learn selfishness themselves, and we are only teaching. So I'll not go much into detail. Permissive parents also, they have a lot of love, but they spoil the child in name of compassion, and which also should be avoided. It's another form of neglect only. So just coming to the authoritarian, so this is where most of the managers may sometimes end up if they are not trained well. That just because I have told my way is the highway, but they don't get it done in an inspired way. I'll just tell one example to make it a little more elaborate and relevant. So once a child was being naughty, and he was not sharing some toy with his friend or the neighborhood child who had come, and father was watching this. So father told, beta, please give the toy, one toy. You have two toys, give one to him. Or you have three toys, at least give one out of the three to him. But the child was very adamant, no papa, I will not give, all the three are mine. Then father understood, oh, this fellow is not giving. Then he tried in a different way. Beta, you please give one toy to him, and I will give you another toy. And then the beta was still adamant, I will not give any time. This is my toy and it will remain with me. So then finally father understood, oh, he is not going to do. So he little forcefully took the toy and gave it to that child, and naturally this his own son started crying, and for the want of the toy. So this was a forceful use of his position as a father, as an authority. The child was not able to take it in a good spirit. Rather, the another way which can be done is that the father could have just paused himself instead of forcefully taking out the toy, understanding that he is not having the attitude of sharing, and he can arrange for another toy from some other place or other room and give for time moment, so that both are happy. Not that we want to make the other person suffer, so but not immediately snatch the toy from the hand of the own son. And later on he can take out time to share. What he can do is he can take him to a garden and give him some chocolates or some prasadam, and give it to the other beggars or the other people in the garden. And by this the child is learning to give. mm, so he can institute the culture of sharing in that, in a more inspiring way rather than in more authoritarian way. So that is what I was just trying to highlight when it comes to authoritative parenting, which one may try to easily institute without developing good relationships, because there are deadlines, there are festivals, there are projects, and everything has a deadline we have. So we may not sometimes institute in the proper relationships or training, and then we have to be authoritative to get the things done, because we have to report as a manager to our senior. So this is what can happen. Types of parenting: authoritative, yeah, set consistent logical limits and are ready to enforce them. Yet they spend time explaining reasons for the limits and teaching their children how to make good decisions on their own. Do what I do and I explain to you why. So, yeah, uh, qualities of the authoritative parents: show a balance of love and discipline. When setting limits of requiring specific behavior, they take the effort to explain why. We should tell why one should be doing this. Now we should explain, like many times in our temples also, if something has to be instituted, the leader or the manager or the president will announce to the congregation devotees that why we are taking this step. So then it is well received by the congregations. So that is authoritarian. That is a good authoritarian, is a good parent, but authoritative is not a good one. So authoritarian is also not good if it is like, yeah, it's mentioned here, Hiranyakashipu. So authoritarian means he is utilizing his power. Hiranyakashipu was completely demoniac and terrorist. But Rishabhadev, he was authoritative. Why? Because he timely retired. He gave the training to his 100 sons and then instituted a king Bharat Maharaj, and then he left. So authoritative is where we will need to invest time, give respect, and develop relationship. So if the balance between love and discipline is striked, then one will be a very successful manager or a leader. Emphasize on principles and not details. Like one can see the pendulum of Krishna conscious application here. Very nice slide I thought to share here. Krishna consciousness is an inclusive philosophy, compassion without compromise, balance of sacrifice and self-care. So on our left hand side it is seen that overly rigid application, obsessed by rules. Sometimes the subordinates will only perceive, oh, ISKCON or our temple means rules and regulations. There is no love or affection or get-togethers or devotee care seen in such a scenario, and false ego leading to Vaishnava aparad and fall downs. But on the other side, another extreme, which also is not very encouraged, is overly relaxed application, compromising on rules, material attachment. There is nobody to speak the truth in the name of getting hurt. One should be not diluting. So one is balance, and then the culture of trust, which takes sometimes a lot of time. My Guru Maharaj used to say that relationships and trust sometimes not only takes months, but it takes years, as much as 30-40 years. One may develop, takes time to develop trust on another person, because trust is very gradual process, and one takes time. So a lot of investment is required of sharing and keeping our promises and respecting, and as you see, listening, understanding. So it appreciation. all this will eventually develop trust. So now the time, okay, we have little more time, 5 more minutes. So why follow an authority? Yeah, this is from subordinate point of view, that we are imperfect, and the uh, yeah, see, the Yamadutas, they were not knowing that what they did with Ajamil, so they had to report to Yamaraj, and then Yamaraj corrected. So there is a need of following authority for subordinates, otherwise it's going to be flawful. Arjuna also succumbed to confusion and had to take guidance from Krishna. Uh, and even Brahma and Shiva get bewildered in Brahma Vimohan Lila and Mohini Murti respectively. So there is a material nature, means we have imperfection and we need a authority to correct us. So an imperfect authority is perfect if he follows the perfect. So we have to choose. Sometimes it is said, at least give your 100%. We may not know what is success or failure. So, but how to know that what is 100%? Following a person who is giving his 100%. At least we can follow them and appreciate. Our superiors also may not be perfect. This is another problem which one can face. They have a lot of high expectations from the seniors. My president, my Shiksha Guru, my Bhakti Vriksha leader, my counselor should be a pure devotee. He should be perfect. But they just cannot accommodate the flaws which may be there, as because he is also a growing devotee. He is not a pure devotee. So we have to learn to understand that at least he has reached 80% perfection. I may be not even 30%. Let me try to reach and imbibe the qualities of him. He has gone way ahead. No, but one may feel a immature subordinate. Unless he is 100% perfect, why should I follow him? Then we will be on the losing side. So and if our authorities are following their authorities perfectly, then that should be good enough. We should not unnecessarily do micro fault finding in them. An imperfect authority is perfect if he follows the perfect. Although a follower may not be a liberated person, if he follows the supreme liberated personality of Godhead, his actions are naturally liberated from the contamination of material nature. Srila Prabhupada used to tell, it's not necessary that Krishna has to come and speak Bhagavad Gita. A representative is good enough. It's as good as hearing from Krishna. So we'll not go into all the details, but we'll just take the headings as the time is less. And consulting always helps. We always need somebody to consult, superior. Whenever we make some major decisions, we should make sure that we have consulted some superior. Unless otherwise, if the decision sometimes it goes wrong, even though we have done a lot of research, then we will be blamed that whom did you ask. So it's always best to have a good consultant, even though we may be in a managerial position, etc. Everyone teaches one while being taught by one. So we should always have a teacher, although we may be a teacher ourselves. And mercy flows by following. Just by following the directions of Nityananda Prabhu, Raghunath Das Goswami got the mercy of engaging in full-time service with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it is our natural position to follow authority because we are servants. So we need a person whom we can follow. That is our natural position. And how to follow an authority? Here is a CRAF formula. C, respect, C, authority fully. So C, respect authority fully. If you don't respect the authority, just because he is there in authority position, we should understand that somebody has installed him. So I will just tell how to understand this one. Let us say in a subordinate position, our idea is 120% technically correct. But our superior, our authority, he is giving an idea which is 70-80% correct technically or efficient. Now we know very well, but the authority takes such a position that no, we have to follow this. Now as a subordinate, maybe that is not good on his part, but as a subordinate, what is our role? So our role should be that we have to follow him because he is the authority, and we can just give a suggestion that this could have been better. But if the decision is taken by authority to follow a 70% efficient idea, then we should go ahead. Why, Prabhu? Why we should go ahead? We should go for the best for ISKCON, for Prabhupada, 120% correct. Yeah, because currently he is in authority position, and if we get into an argument, then what will happen? We'll lose relationship. That this fellow is an unsubmissive subordinate. And what will happen? Because he is in authority position, he has some experience, some understanding, and he will see that the things have not gone so good, and he will understand, oh, my subordinate gave me a good idea, but I did not follow. And the next time he will be more humble enough to take these suggestions more seriously and apply it. Maybe once or twice or thrice it may happen, but it won't go beyond. And then what is maintained is relationship. So even though our idea may be 120% correct, we should still follow the authority and see him respectfully. Never lose the respect idea. Losing the respect for our authorities and subordinates is what then a subordinate can do a blunder. And okay, there are many more things. Okay, and how to be an exemplary authority will go there, because that topic, attachment to Krishna. Yeah, as a authority, sometimes there won't be much feedbacks. We will be seen as very senior devotee, but we should always do our introspection whether our roots are going deep or not. The more we take more responsibility, the more we should be strong and stable. Unless our roots are not deep, and that means our nam ruchi, our attitude, our introspection, are we here really to align our subordinates to the mission of Srila Prabhupada, our superiors, or not? So that can be introspection. So time and again he will have to do the homework of understanding himself. Be responsible. Even things go nice or bad for both, he should take the responsible. A leader is allowed to decide on matters that will affect the life of a group of devotees positively or negatively. Thus, he should be very careful to always work under the guidance of his superiors and be willing to take responsibility for all his decisions. Credit for Guru, not for oneself, that we have heard. Discipline and self-control we discussed. And correcting, yes, this is another very sensitive thing. When there is need for correcting, we should do, and that should be done very sensitively, in person, not in public. And we should see sometimes he may not respect us, then we should do this from somebody else whom they respect, rather than we only be the sole person. I had heard once one of our seniors was telling that we sometimes think that only I am the one who can correct him, but no, there can be somebody else who can actually correct him, or he is more inspired from. So we should leave it to him rather than we only becoming the damager. So in nutshell, we tried to discuss maybe more, and my speed was little more, I felt. Maybe we'll just take a few minutes to revise and then take some discussion. So we started off from the topic that how a manager's role is like drinking poison, but how we can try not to get entangled. And later on we discussed about authority and subordinate. So in the managerial part, we saw that how self-management, self-control is so very vital, the DOS formula, and that is the way we can become good managers unless we don't have good sense control ourselves. And then we discussed few examples of Priyavrat Maharaj, Arjuna, that they had good training and then they followed their seniors. They had that good intentions of being aligned with the seniors, and that is how they became good, successful, even though they entered the managerial roles. Yes, Priyavrat Maharaj got distracted with the material opulence, but since he had done by the blessings of his superiors, he was saved. So that guidance and blessings is very much required, and we should consider ourselves very insignificant. Not that we are a big post and position now, that we are after all 1 by 10,000 part of the tip of the hair, as Lord tells to Arjuna, and that consciousness will keep us humble. We discussed various scenarios in the voice and bass, where when brahmacharis have to do a lot of services, almost like a grihastha, but if he does it in alignment of superiors and not only good intentions, but it should be conveyed that why these intentions are good, and if it comes as an inspiring way from the subordinates, then only it will be taken in a nice way. Otherwise it can be entangling. And he has to be also very compassionate. He has to be sufficiently tolerant. We saw the example of a doctor, a pediatrician doctor, and who regularly told that the mother of the child that I do get slaps from the children by when treating them. And one important point, as we were discussing, the greatest success of a good manager is to somehow curtail the lower nature of the subordinates and align them to the superiors, and in keeping them together. We discussed the example of His Grace Narhari Chaitanya Prabhu also, and that how subordinate who has good skills and the senior who may be in a good spiritual position, authoritative position, both can be together, and that is the success of a good manager. If the people separate out, then that is a failure. So this is a challenge as we grow, that the lower natures will also come out. We also discussed the example of Samudra Manthan Leela and Bharat Maharaj, that how the attitude of the manager should be, and how Lord Vishnu very expertly brought out nectar by making demons and demigods work together. So that was about managerial part, and from authority and subordinate part, we discussed that the neglectful and the permissive parents are obviously bad. Even the authoritative is not good, but the authoritarian parents who have a good balance of compassion, love and discipline is what will make a good manager or a parent or a leader. And how a subordinate also should be not having too much expectations of a pure devotee from their seniors, and there is always a need that we need authority. So that will be from subordinate point of view, and from the senior, from the leaders and the manager point of view, he should be rooted in his sadhana, in his introspection time and again, and in his alignment to the seniors, and that will make him a very good and contributive manager. So I hope I did some justice. Forgive me if there are any mistakes or corrections. You can please comment now, and we are open for discussion. Thank you very much for this opportunity once again. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful session that you just shared with all of us. So there were so many insights that you gave, because the topic was such, it's about government, about authority trying to extract taxes, and then which is the general trend of the yuga. And then you also spoke about how, because the government is again from the people only, so the mentalities of the people you dwelt into, and then how even in our own day-to-day lives, we connected it to our world in terms of parenting, and then how we also can make mistakes. We can be authoritarian, or we could be completely permissive. I mean, all those various types of parenting. So I think that was a wonderful way to look at the macro and then the micro, the smaller thing that affects our life. Of course, taxes affects our life every time. So it was so nice. And then you also wonderfully summarized, actually. So you generally the summarizing is done by the person who is the mediator, but you did that for me. So thank you so much. So wonderful. Devotees, if there are any comments or questions, kindly go ahead. We will be happy to take them.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Mataji.
Prabhu, I think what you told is more of idealistic situations. But in the current world, current time, many things don't work, Prabhu. Like I'm talking about my own small establishment, how I face problem. And when something is there, you have some discipline, you say you have to come this time. I'm finding it so difficult. I've given all the things, carrots, everything I've given, but still it doesn't. And and I face problems with the patient because they come and sit at the time. They don't, the doctors come at their own free will. It's finding it very difficult, Prabhu.
Actually, Mataji, we also face the similar problem when we go for preaching in hostel. We have a group of students whom we call them for chanting, and the facilitators and mentors, they reportedly keep telling me, Prabhu, that they don't come on time, even in the Manipal center, and also it happens sometimes. So I was just sharing with them that at the same example of the father and son, which I did not discuss in the revision also, that how you mentioned that you gave carrot and still things are not working, what to do now. But then we should know that the limit is, if we break the relationship, and if we break the because it all depends on at the end how much good relationship we keep with them. Maybe the scenario is now doctor and patient, but it can be between a manager and a subordinate in a temple, and the subordinate also may not come on time for Bhagavatam class or not for morning program, and instead of giving repeated time or understanding and training and carrots for 1 year 2 year also, it may not happen. So now what is the solution? One may get very much frustrated actually dealing with these things. So the number one thing is patience. That one has not to lose patience when things are not working. One has to tax his brain that how he can improve. And what we do is, when such a situation comes here, we tell the facilitators that you have to go first of yourself on time and set an example, so that they don't have room for telling that so and so bhaiya, you only did not come on time. Secondly, we tell something very interesting in the first few minutes of the class, which is very good for their studies or for their lifestyle management, because that is their level which they are into now in the first years, just knowing, growing in Krishna consciousness, budding. So they appreciate that, they catch, wow, that was very nice. It is not about time management, but it is about mind management. And then we tell them few tips, and then we tell at the end of the class, so some of you could not come on time, we have shared some tips in the early starting, kindly check with your friends and they will share. And then at the end of 1 week, when all of them have come on time, those who have come on time, we should appreciate and award them or give them some gifts. And still some of them may not come on time, but then what else can we do? We have to give our 80% of time only to those who are responding, who are growing, who are trainable. And those who are not trainable, like Srila Prabhupada, sometimes in his audience he used to get people very very violent, who are just trying to throw stones or speak very aggressively, and Prabhupada had to stop his lectures and just give prasadam. So he has done this, and at times he has been very very agitating, very very aggressive. So both the things he has done, he has seen. So we have to take a call with our experience that what works at what time. It is tricky, it is dicey, it requires combination of patience and also authoritative commands which we have to take. So it is a thankless task for sure, with experience, and that is why our connection to our superiors and the Paramatma is so much very important to get the guidance. Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito, what to do at what time. So it's a combination of our connection with our superiors and the Lord, our experience coupled with Vaishnava qualities of patience, which will all determine in a long-term success. Prabhupada also had to do that. Prabhupada had to bear with his followers. One was taking kurta, one was taking dhoti, and we may feel that it is not practical, but what else can we do? If we start as a spiritual person, we start throwing tantrums, and we tell that it is not practical, we have to do something else, then there is no other. This is what Bhagavatam is teaching, to be patient. Prahlad Maharaj, he showed patience in dealing with Hiranyakashipu, and ultimately he was victorious. So Pandavas, they did the dharma. Bhima and Arjuna were always very much agitated that why Yudhishthira is not telling us or giving us permission to do this step, but always they at the end abided by Yudhishthira. So I agree that Mataji, for sure, sometimes things are not very much in our control, or it is not showing up results, but the principles are that's why as a manager we have to always focus on principles, not the details. When we focus on details, we will become a bad person. So we have another thing which can inspire us as managers or as a leaders is never become angry. Bhagavatam only tells, whatever you want to do as a teacher, you have to keep giving good instructions without losing patience, without losing our temper. It is a very very long, because it is basically refining their consciousness and their inbuilt nature. So we are first wanting to talk about our own devotees, and then we hope that devotees will be trainable. Regarding the outside people, yeah, we may have a different set of expectations from them because they are after all non-devotees. So based on case to case, we can take a call and understanding, and we can lower our expectations also. We can do the needful and thereby keep ourselves calm and give more time to those who are regular patients, those who have come on time, and then we can do the needful. Does it address, Mataji, what you are pointing out?
Yes, yes, Prabhu. Actually, our timing was 9:30, the clinic. Slowly, they started coming late. And then I said, we make it at 10. Sometimes patients don't come. We made it 10. Now they started coming at 10:15, 10:20, 10:30. The day I'm not there, conveniently, they come at 10:40. I
Correct.
keep telling them that's not the way, Even you, new patient, you should come on time and sit down, read something, You can observe some things.
We can also have some inspiring sessions and get together where we tell them some inspiring quotes and spend some investment. When we do some, not only that we are giving them salary, not only that we have given them expectations, we may have given clear expectations and we are giving good salary and good remuneration, but at the same time we sometimes give some inspiration, go around together, go for outing where we exchange more, and then things will slowly come out. If we really want our team to work nicely, then we have to invest a little more than probably what we have done. Many times I have done this mistake. I am expecting that, oh, my subordinate should be doing for the pleasure of the senior. We want preaching, but I have not given their time on and not taken care of their studies. I have not taken care of some facilities, and that is why I was also not aware. And then later some seniors gave me the feedback, then I came to know. So we have to really, as a doctor, we have to dwell in their life as to what makes them come late, or then after doing that sufficient thing, then we should also know when to draw the line, and then we have to take some strong step. But there is no other way, or we should not give up that, oh, there is no, it is not going to happen. There are people who actually expect and successfully institute this in even the non-devotional circles and in devotional circles, like Revati Raman Prabhu, president of Tirupati, how he made such a nice brahmacharya ashram. Being a grahastha, he used to take the bell, and 3:30 he will go to the brahmacharya ashram and ring that everybody come on time, come on, it is time for getting up. And then he will treat them very nicely, he will inspire them in good sadhana, he personally will come without any one day missing. So he has brought up a very nice brahmacharya ashram. So just I am trying to cite some examples where we have to do the necessary homework to get the output, which may take a little time. I agree, Mataji, it is not an easy thing. Prem Priya Mataji is sharing that. Yeah, thank you, Mataji, for your kind words. And basic thing is our sadhana should be good and deep rooted. Yeah, that is a root, because that is going to give the good qualities. When we chant nicely and our connection with our superiors and the Lord is good, all the good qualities of patience and tolerance will manifest automatically. When the Krishna factor goes in, then the things magically work. The tolerance, titikshava, karunika, surda, sarvadehinam, ajata, shatrava, shanta, sadhuva, sadhu bhushanam. All these ornaments will spring one by one when our root has been put nicely. I hope it was
Yes, so
useful discussion.
It's been very nice, wonderful this thing. And I just gave one example too. They are excellent, Prabhu. Work-wise, too good. That's why I was having a lot of patience. I just gave one example. Supposing you take your father for a consultation and the appointment is at 10 o'clock. The doctor doesn't come at 10. What will happen to you? Don't you get angry? I said.
Obviously, yeah.
When I said that, 2 days she stopped talking to me.
Maybe we should also check with other doctors, our colleagues who may be successfully being able to do it and how they do it. That also can help sometimes. When I have to institute something in my center over here, my superiors tell me, please go and visit another center and check how they do nicely. And then we can sometimes be surprised that they are not only doing it nicely, but how they do it is very amazing. And sometimes we can get some good things in that also.
Yes, Prabhu. I'll try.
Thank you for bringing out that practical point, Mataji.
Thank you so much for the wonderful class on the points, inputs for us to be better managed in the position, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Dandavad Pranam, sir.
Dandavad Pranam, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So thank you. I think the nectar is continuing to flow and have this unpleasant task of stopping it. So in the interest of time, so it is around 8:20 now. But
Yes.
Prabhuji, thank you so much. There are so many points actually, and then it is good that you triggered off many things. Just wanted to add one thing about the situational aspect, which is there. Even in leadership styles, there is always this debate, which is good, authoritarian or this and that, even in parenting or in leadership styles. And then finally, the conclusion is that a situational leadership is what is advisable or what is recommended, which means that you have to be all of it. You have to be a authoritarian for that mentality of person. Then you have to be the other one, authoritative for other places, and so on and so forth. So that then we use our intelligence. Keep thinking. That's what you brought out very nicely about how we have to use our intelligence, depend on Krishna for the right instructions, right intelligence, and then make those changes so that every relationship, there is a level of interaction that happens, and that they call it a situational style, which means that based on the situation or based on the individual, sometimes even parents it happens, no? So all children are not the same. Somebody needs little more attention, somebody needs little more strict administration of things. So then so that everybody then comes up to that particular thing of completing the task or whatever. So thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you for bringing out that situational leadership point, and you are also very good in that.
Prabhu. So I think you are best in that, I think now.
Hare Krishna.
So thank you. So we can end with Vaishnav pranams now. Vancha kalpatarubhishya kripa sindhubhyo vacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Om Namaha. And Prabhuji, the best example for me in situational leadership is Prithu Maharaj. So
Okay.
wonderfully, he dealt with all types of reversals, up, downs, everything. Bhumi Devi, how he was harsh. Even Lord Ram to the sea, even though he did what he has to do, and then he became a little forceful, and then things fell in place. And then
Excellent.
accepting the authority, like Lord Brahma says, don't do the 100th, then he immediately stopped. So
Oh yes, that
every
was
way,
best. That was best.
every way, if you look at Prithu Maharaj's life, is a wonderful situational leader. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So we
Thank
can end the
you.
session.
Hare Krishna.
So I'll complete. Yeah, we can end now. Thank you. We'll all see tomorrow.